You know, suffering. What is suffering? Double-barreled question. What is suffering and what actually is suffering? Is it the mind that's suffering? Is it the body that's suffering? Is it the life that's suffering? What causes suffering? But what is suffering? In most informative videos, if you said if there was one who was doing a video on ice, you know, they would take in a piece of ice, Well, this is ice, you see. And in a matter of time, this lump of ice will dissolve. It will become water, and then nothing would remain, you see. You can't take in suffering. You cannot take in anything to show this actual suffering. But the fact is, it will dissolve. Like everything else dissolves. It's very difficult for this one now to describe what suffering is, because you have to use memory, because the suffering that used to be a concept, used to be a thought, used to bite into the head or the body or the whole world of a person, can no longer be seen. There is no dissolving anymore, you see. Once it's dissolved, it's gone. But unless you accept it, that it's gone, it will keep coming back, Every experience comes back till you say, I've had enough. I know what it is. Thank you very, very much for it. Thank you very much for showing me this suffering. I have seen what it can do. I have seen what purpose it serves. I have seen the goodness of suffering. I have seen the badness of suffering. So, no more suffering. If you ask for anything to be taken away, it's not going to happen, you see. If you ask for anything to be given, it's not going to happen. It may happen at a later date, because all your wishes come true. But not when you want it to happen. The mind, the ego mind. No. The ego mind is not the controller of this, you see. So what causes suffering? The act of doing. The act of actually trying to do something at the wrong time. But actually, there's not even a right time to do anything. Life is doing it on its own, but you want to become that extra doer, you see. I want to be the extra doer. Have you ever had the statement, the comment, whatever I do is wrong, Whatever I do, I just can't get to the point I'm trying to get to, Whatever I do. My life is always doing the wrong thing, you see. When our life is doing the right thing, you're just trying to push it this way and push it that way. Your life is perfect. From the moment this body is born from the womb to the moment this body is taken and fades away, every moment is perfect. Until you start trying to rearrange it, you see. I was waiting for them. Easy for him to say, That's realization, you see. That's the whole thing about awakening, is to realize that, you know what? Whatever I do, and this I is ego, whatever ego I does, it doesn't seem to work, I'm always going to be this. That's your escape route, you see. I was always going to be this. I am always going to be this. No more trying, no more surrendering even, no more giving up, I can't find peace, you see. Everything I do, I can't find peace, you see. Peace is existence. Before you came into a body, or before this body came into you, there had to be peace, you see. Your mind won't be able to identify this peace. But there was peace. And when this body goes, peace. And during its lifetime, peace. But all through this lifetime, you're going to look for something that you already are, that already is here. Peace. And you're going to knock down walls and shoot armies and build bigger houses and dig more holes and suffer the consequences of natural disasters and accidents to harm the body and whatever. And you're going to say, my God, whatever I do to find peace, I suffer. And then you try and project it out, you see, to make the ego wants to feel peaceful. But it's the same for everyone, I watch it every day. No one seems to escape this suffering. No one can escape suffering because everyone is creating suffering. But it's important to create suffering, to identify what suffering is. Can't find it, you see. Identify what it is and to accept it and say, you know what? Like, same thing as you do when you go into a restaurant for the first time. You try a new meal. A new meal. Someone has advised you for this beautiful vegetarian salad that has got so much spices or flavors. I want to try that, you see. I want to try that. Then you order it and you eat it up, you see. I tasted that meal, you see. I tasted it. And someone will say, your partner or someone will say, did you enjoy it? Did you like it? And what you will say is, I loved it. Oh, no, I didn't. But the real words that want to come is, what does it matter? I tasted it. I experienced this new taste. And when you taste it, then you say, thank you for allowing me to taste, not for the food. On to pudding. The experience was you were allowed to taste this new food. And you did. And when you make comparisons to other foods or preferences, you say, well, I'll keep that in my system, you see, to see if I can find something better. Or I'm keeping that here because I don't think I'm going to find anything better, you see. So you're keeping it. You're storing that taste to say, oh, I want to tell the whole world about this taste, So suffering is the same. Suffering comes. And you say, there must be a purpose. There must be a reason. What have I done wrong? What have they done wrong? There must be. Why me, Why me? Suffering is gone, you see. You tasted suffering. You can't let it go. Because there has to be this human way of, right, okay, investigate. Investigate. And mind loves to investigate. Mind will investigate and say, well, it's probably due to your childhood. It's probably because you did that bad thing when you were a teenager. It's probably because they don't like you. It's probably because you have got no money and you don't fit into this superior high-class world. It's probably because you have too much money and you don't fit into this poor world. There has to be a reason for suffering, you see. That's what you look for, you see. You look for this reason. So I can't let this suffering go until I encounter it, and overcome it and go, Who makes the decisions to do that, Suffering will continue to come, not by another source, through intent, because you cannot let it go. Same as you go to university and you do a degree in the piano. And then 5 years later you give up the piano, you see. But you've never given up the piano. Someone will say, what have you done, in your life? Well, I did this and this and this and this. Have you played a music instrument? Yes, I play the piano. I play the piano. You don't say, well, I tasted the piano, but it's gone now. You can't let the thought of not being able to play the piano pass, you see, and not being able to identify with the name that you have inherited, that you think is going to do you good somewhere down the line. The piano has forgotten about, You can still pick up the piano and play it and taste it again. If life brings it to you, you see. All these little seeds when we communicate is, oh my God, the piano, I haven't played it for 5 years. I must try and do that again, Well, they tell me you suffered. You suffered deeply with depression. Yes, I did, I tasted it. It was gone. What was it like? Is this a friend? I can't remember. It's gone. It's just that James is suffering, and maybe I thought you could help. James will accept his suffering and let it pass like everyone else does. He will taste it and let it pass. And then when the mind says, I want to test this one, I want to test this one, you see. This one, I want to test it, I'm going to put this in place again, Wow, I thought suffering had gone, but it's come again, It's come again. Okay, he wants me life wants me to taste it again, you see. Okay, let it come. Thank you. Gone. Sounds very easy, isn't it? Sounds very easy when your head is bursting with the mind saying, taste it, 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 taste it. Yeah? It's not easy. I'm not here to say, wow, this is the method, you know. I'm trying to give you some pointings to say, whatever comes, the moment you don't attach to it, and the moment you don't detach from it, is the moment when it goes that you see it going. You say, thank you. You know? Someone somewhere throws a stone in your head. Accident. Big scar. Blood, stitches, everything. Yeah? The moment the pain seems to go, you say, not to the one who threw the stone, to life, thank you. And you don't speak about it again. Our words create this disconnecting ability we have, you know. Yeah, I want to speak about my hand. It's so much pain, you know. The pain is gone, but I want to tell everyone, you know. I remember this time when I had this pain. It was awful, you see. Suddenly pain comes back. I had this pain. It was awful, you see. Judgmental, and it belonged to you. You see. I had this pain and it was awful. It took me years to get rid of it. You see, you are the whole controller of your whole life, you know. And pain, mind says, oh, it's not saying I'm going to punish this one with more pain. It says, oh, he is not finished with this. You know, I'll give him back somewhere else. I tasted pain many years ago in my hand. But it's gone now, you know. If it comes back, then I am to taste it again. If it does not come back, then no more tasting of pain for this body. Very, very simple. Simple when you see it, you see. The minute you do something that is going to try and change what life has given you, you see, suffering or pain will come. But you can do these things, you see. You can change these things. It's not about staying as Buddha all your life. You can say, you know what, I want to change my appearance and my body, you know. I want to change my home, right? So when these changes take place, and it's not very easy, you see, something comes in the way, you see, whether it's suffering, whether it's pain, whether it's lack of time, you say, you know what, thank you, I accept that, you know, I accept it. I know I'm going against life, so I have to accept the consequences, you know. And to accept the consequences mean I simply tasted something that arrived with no intent to burden this one. It just arrived because I went against consciousness. And consciousness cannot be controlled. It is a moving entity. It's like walking through the wind, you see. The wind's not going to stop for you. It's not going to say, oh, here's Graham. Let's stop for him today, you know. You're going to have a, yeah. You won't stop for the wind, you see. Mind won't stop for the wind. So if the mind cannot stop for the wind, the mind has to take the consequences of the wind. But that's okay, because when through the wind you turn around and say, wow, thank you, wind. Thank you for that, you know. Thank you for giving me the taste of wind in my body and making me feel this beautiful wind. Yeah, you're 20 minutes late for your appointment now because you chose to walk through this wind. And thank you for missing my appointment now. Everything is good. I tasted the wind. I tasted this suffering of missing the appointment. I tasted the losing of the job. But it's okay, you know. I can let that go.